The very world we know took an unexpected turn this year. This year has awakened me, has awakened us all, has awakened us to truths we can no longer ignore. Women all over the world are hurting. Women all over the world need to be heard. So join me as I embark on a journey that will lead me into conversations with women all over the world on issues that women of this generation face on a global scale.
Hi, Siera. Thank you so much for being on the show. How are you doing today?
Doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good.
This is definitely something new that I am doing, and I'm so excited that you can be the first one that can kind of be my guinea pig for the whole thing. I feel like you're just amazing at being able to talk and just being yourself, and you have so many great things that I feel a lot of people will be able to just feel inspired from, and you just have so many great things to say, and I'm so excited.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited too.
So this is a little different. I would have had a studio where I would have sat down and kind of done the whole interview with you, but because of the pandemic, this is where we are, and I had to, kind of adapt and figure some things out.
That's great.
But yeah, I want to start with a little icebreaker, and we'll just kind of go into just some cultural things that you can tell us about Canada. So what is your favorite traditional dish?
Here we have something called poutine, and it's basically French fries, cheese curds, and gravy. So that started I think it was in Quebec, but it is a whole thing here in Canada. It's called poutine. It's unique to Canada. It's very good. It's obviously very rich. It's not the healthiest for you.
As soon as you said cheese and French fries, I
Yeah,
just
I know. I know. Yeah, yeah. So I would say that's definitely what comes to mind.
that sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Okay, what is a famous Canadian saying?
Well, everyone says we say "a," like, "Oh, that's good, eh?" So, I think, do we say "so" a lot? Is that a thing? Okay. So we say "so" and we say "a," and we say "sorry" all the time.
Sorry?
Yeah, sorry. Like, "Oh, sorry, sorry." Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I guess we're just super apologetic for no reason.
Oh my gosh. Okay. What is your favorite Canadian city and why?
I would say my favorite Canadian city, I have two, and they're on each coast. On the west coast, I love Vancouver. It's beautiful. There's mountains, it's gorgeous. I also love Halifax, which is on the east coast of Canada. It's very much about fisheries, and it's more, I would say that's more where you get the traditional Canadian a sorry, like,
Yeah.
plaid and yeah, flannel. Like it's more the East Coast. Yeah. So Halifax and Vancouver, I love them both for different reasons. They're very, very different, and they're both amazing cities.
Okay. How is the weather there? Because I know the I hear they're brutal.
It depends where you are in Canada. I'm from the prairies, so the middle of Canada, where it gets to be like minus 40, sometimes minus 50 degrees Celsius, which I don't even know what that would be in Fahrenheit, but it's very cold. And although the summers are very hot, like it was very humid and, 30 degrees Celsius, which would be maybe like 80, 90 Fahrenheit, something around there. I don't know. So it's very variable.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So this isn't a question, but what do you guys do during the winter times? You just kind of like hibernate and stay indoors and
Yeah, pretty much.
quarantine style?
Some people really embrace it. They go ice fishing. So right now I'm on we're at my husband's parents, so my in-laws' place, and they're on a lake. So on the lake, it's a thing here. Everyone has these ice shacks. They dig a hole in the ice and they fish. It's called ice fishing. And that's like, people love doing that. It is not my forte. I would prefer, yeah, to be warm and inside. People go snowmobiling. So basically like sea-doing, but on snow. So
Okay.
skidoo. I don't even know how to say it. And a lot of people do like cross country skiing. So a lot of people do embrace the winters and they do all the outdoor things. They go sledding. Like we took our daughter sledding a couple times this year. So there's actually more to do than you'd probably think, but you just have to get creative.
Well, I'm glad you kind of answered that part because that was going to be the next question. What is a good like hobby or favorite Canadian pastime? What do you guys do for fun?
Sledding. A lot of people like fishing. Those are kind of some traditional ones. What else do people do in Canada? I don't know what else that would be like unique. Like hockey. A lot of people play hockey, right? And then in the summer they just play like street hockey. So obviously no skates, just like sneakers. So yeah, I would say hockey is probably like the biggest common one in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
And last one, what is your favorite thing about being a Canadian woman?
One of my favorite things about being a Canadian woman probably is the way we embrace diversity and the way we embrace, my daughter's just sneaking into the room. Hi. That's okay. I would just, say celebrating diversity, not only for men and women, but namely for women, and like lifting women up as much as we can. There are obviously barriers around the world, including in Canada, for women. But yeah, just overall embracing diversity and celebrating each other's differences, I would say is very much a Canadian thing.
Okay, so and she's over there wanting to be with mommy right now.
Yeah, she wants to like step in on the interview.
Oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. Okay,
Thanks.
so we're gonna go into showing a little video.
Okay.
The topic that we're gonna go into.
Great.
And
take our seats! Take our seats!
These women are representing ridings across the country. They're marching to the House of Commons to fill the 338 seats some of them hope to one day be elected to. It's been 100 years since a small minority of Canadian women got the right to vote in federal elections. It took decades longer for that right to be extended to all Canadian women. And organizers of today's event say there's still a lot of work to do because the political world remains dominated by men. Only 26% of Canada's MPs are women.
so one of the things that I really wanted to talk about when it comes to Canada, first of all, I love Canada. There's a famous meme that's going around during these times right now, which cracks me up every time because it feels like, I'm pretty sure Canadians feel like they live on top of a meth lab right now. Like that apartment that's right on top of a meth lab, that's what Canadians must feel like, because it's just, you guys are just doing so well in just so many areas. You guys have ranked second best following Switzerland, best country in the world to live, and you guys have a really, really, really great quality of life. And so in my research, trying to come up with, a topic that we can talk about, maybe an issue, I was like, what is wrong? Like, what are Canadians doing wrong? Like, I don't know what we can talk about. But in my research, I found some shocking statistics that maybe we can kind of go into, and maybe you can give us some, enlightenment on why that might be the case, and how do you think people could change that? And so one of the things that I have noticed is that when it comes to gender equality, and more specifically equality amongst gender leadership, there's a gap. And some of the statistics that I found is that women in Canada make up just about over half of the Canadian population. However, when it comes to political and professional leadership, they're underrepresented. And a report looked at about 10,000 companies, and the studies show that 89% of Canadian corporate boards have no women, or just one. That's going to be a blooper. Percentage of women being appointed as new directors at Canada's top 100 companies have slowed down to 30% from 40%.
Wow.
Actually decreasing. And women only hold 25% of vice president roles and 15% of CEO roles. And one of the things that really caused me to pause and think is when I found another study. That study actually showed that men aren't opposed to women being in leadership roles. They actually encourage women. You know, they see women as capable of being in leadership roles. But for some reason, it's not happening. And so I kind of wanted to like dive into that and pick your brain as to why you think that is.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of reasons. Just even though Canada, you know, is amazing, we have so many great things, so many wonderful opportunities, whatever, we still, as women here, face some of the same issues that women around the world face. For example, when women in the workforce are trying to prove themselves, a lot of times they'll have their fashion commented on versus their abilities. And I've experienced this personally. I am a law school graduate, and when I was in law school, I was interviewing for a job, and I ended up getting the job, and I had a few, not just like one, a few people, men and women, they said something to me along the lines of, oh yeah, that firm, they always hire the pretty girls. And I thought, okay, so I didn't prove myself with my resume, with my grades. It was because I was pretty. It's because I wore a nice outfit. And so that was frustrating for me. And so things like that exist, not just for students, but for women of all stages of their career. So I ended up working at that firm. It was a law firm, like a good size, highly looked at law firm. And even there, as much as there were a lot of high up women lawyers, leaders, whatever word you want to say, leaders who are women, it was very much noticeable that they weren't looked at the same as the male partners at the firm. And for example, there was a woman who was just leaving on maternity leave, and somebody said something along the lines of, you know, she better keep up with her work if she wants to come back and be at the same place as she was when she left. And you know, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, women are always going to be the one to get pregnant, bear children, go through pregnancy, and that isn't going to change. And so if a woman has to take a step away from her work for whatever length of time, and there's a man who's at that same place of work and he's still going, he doesn't have to take that step away, he is going to be a few steps ahead of her when she does return, or, you know, whenever she picks up that full workload again. That's just the way it is. So I think there's so many things, from becoming a mother to having people talk about what we look like and what we're wearing versus our abilities, to, in that instance, people said, oh, you know, she's going to come back and, you know, hopefully she'll be able to take the same workload. And just the way that people view women and what we do, we still have a lot of work to do, obviously. And I think there's other things as well that play into it, and I'm sure you could speak to this as well. Overall, women tend to be more aware of what people think of us. And so I think sometimes a woman might be afraid to apply for a position or chase after that leadership role because she's afraid of what other people might think. She's afraid of what they might say. Whereas men, for the most part, this is generalizing, they don't really care. They don't care what people think. They're going to go after it because that's what they want to do. And I think as well, when it comes to family life, maybe women might feel like, is this going to take away too much from my role as a mother figure? You know, I think there's so much to it. And before I became a mom, I didn't think of these things as much. I thought as well, you know, why aren't there more women in leadership roles? Why aren't there more women sitting at those board tables? And now I'm starting to understand more why. We just have so many more pulls on us, you know, and we want to be amazing mothers. We want to be amazing in our career. And sometimes it is hard to be everything to everyone in all those positions. So I think there's so many reasons. And yeah, in Canada in particular, I don't know why, like we see a lot of European countries with very high women and leaders who are women. So I'm not sure. I don't know if there's a specific thing. Those are just the things I can speak to about women in leadership. But yeah, I don't know. There's nothing in particular that I can say is here in Canada that isn't somewhere else.
Yeah. And I think I definitely agree with that. And there's always going to be that stereotype that is put on women, no matter what, whether you're completely successful, you're the CEO of a company, you're still going to be compared to another male CEO.
For
and
sure.
So I wonder if, you know, that may be the cause for why women are kind of just stepping down and
Yeah.
not really tapping into that inner confidence and that inner strength of knowing they can do that and they can surpass all of these obstacles. I feel like a lot of women tend to, and one of the issues, one of the biggest issues on a sideline is when women don't see other women in leadership, they kind of
Right.
feel that they don't see themselves, you know, doing anything of that nature because all they see is men. And so I feel like, one, that's part of the problem. And B, is that I feel like women aren't engraving in themselves and really tapping into themselves and letting themselves know, hey, I can do this. You know, if I want to do this, I can believe and I can do it. And so I think there's a sense of belief and maybe self-confidence or maybe self-esteem. And maybe it has to do with maybe the way that women are taught or girls are taught once they're growing up. And I don't know what, I just don't know what I don't know how we can get there. I don't know how we can get women to understand that just because the men are running the world doesn't mean we can't do it either. And we can probably do it better. So
Yeah, well, I don't know if you saw that meme, and it was something along the lines of women who are at like high up in their countries. No, what was it? But it was the level of COVID cases or something like that.
all the
Did you
women
see that?
are, mhm.
Yeah. And so any country that was run by a woman was doing much, much better than the ones run by men in terms of COVID cases. But what I wanted to speak to you about that, when you said something about raising our children or raising women to be like feel more in a leadership, able to be a leader.
Mhm.
I told this story a few days ago. I think I mentioned something on my Instagram stories as well, but my daughter is 17 months old. So she's obviously very young. She can barely even talk. And sometimes she's very bald as well. So a lot of people think she's a boy, which is fine. And a lot of times I'll dress her in kind of neutral clothes, like say a black sweatsuit, like a black t-shirt or a black crew neck and black sweats. Because like that's something I would wear. And she just happens to look like a boy because she's bald, whatever, right? And so when she's wearing neutral type clothing, people always think she's a boy, which is fine. But what I noticed, this would have been a few weeks ago now, one day I had her dressed in a dress. So it was obvious, I guess, that she was a girl. And people were saying like things along the lines of, oh, you're so pretty. Look at that pretty dress. Oh, you're so beautiful. Later that day, I had her dressed in this sweatsuit. So people thought she was a boy. And they were saying things about what she was doing, not how she was dressed. They were like, oh, you're so strong. You're so fast. Look at you go. And I thought, oh my God. At 17 months old,
Yeah.
my daughter's being told that when she's looking like a girl, her outer appearance, what she's wearing, is the first thing that people talk about. It's the first thing that holds importance. When they think she's a boy, they're talking about her abilities.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So things like that, like that's a lifetime, right? And we would probably do the same. Like we wouldn't second guess what we're saying because that's just kind of how people are, right? Like, oh, women are so pretty, we're so delicate, we're so kind. And so you know this too, like when a woman is in a leadership role and she is assertive and firm and confident in what she says, she's often called the B word. I've been called the B word so many times. And I'm like, if what I'm saying was said by a man, he'd be called a leader, right? Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. So it's just a lot of things are ingrained in society, ingrained in how we think of each gender. And it's sad, but I think with talking about more of this, we're going to become more aware, and hopefully our young women who are growing up are going to feel more able, more confident to step into those roles with confidence.
And I think, and there was something that I posted a picture the other day, and my exact caption, because I saw this in a poem and I was just like blown away by it, because it said, everybody wants a strong woman. Everybody supports a strong woman. Everybody encourages a strong woman until she starts using her voice, until she starts flexing her muscles and actually showing that strength is when people become uncomfortable. And then suddenly, oh, you know, have her man control her. Or they'll look at the husband like, control your wife. Or, you know, it's just, I don't get it. And it's so, it bothers me so much because I feel like it's a cultural thing, and maybe not just in Canada. This is definitely something global. women are seen as these fragile, vulnerable beings that are not capable of doing the same things a man can, only because we can bear children and because people think that that's our primary goal or responsibility. And so I just want to get to a point where we can kind of just teach people and let them know we need to engrave this in our children's lives, in our daughters' lives. We need to let them know they're capable. Don't compliment them on how they're dressed. Don't compliment them on, only, how they look. Say they're strong from a small age. Let them know they're a leader. Let them know they're smart. Let them know they're capable. And I feel like once you start speaking that over your child's life and over children's life in general, they eventually start believing it. And so I feel like when you're a small, child, you start thinking, okay, I'm pretty. All the compliments are coming at me that I'm pretty. Eventually, you just grow up thinking you just have to be the prettiest girl ever, and that's all that matters. And so I'm so glad that you told me that happened to you, because it literally proves our point.
Right.
From a small infant age, you believe what people speak over your life. And so we just need to change the culture. We need to change the adults' minds. Mm-hmm. So that way we can cultivate that into the next generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you said something about people feeling uncomfortable when someone actually does step into something. And I think what you said is so true of when we see something that's different than the norm that we're not used to, it does make us uncomfortable. So we do need more of that feeling of being uncomfortable, because obviously that's needed because it's different, it's change. So we need more of that in many different ways. And I'm coming to a place where I'm not afraid now if someone is going to say something, whether it's to me or my daughter, that makes me feel uncomfortable because it isn't maybe appropriate. I now feel like with that discomfort, I should say something, even if it makes them uncomfortable, whether it's, I don't think that's appropriate, or actually, yeah, she could be a leader too. Whatever it is, even if I think I'm going to make that person uncomfortable, I'm okay with that now because we need that.
Right. And even with this show, so before I launched this specific Women Around the World series, my previous show was more based on women that are entrepreneurs and women that have overcome something, and their stories would be some sort of testimonial for other women. And coming into this, because I'm going to be tackling issues and I'm going to be tackling into things that actually make people uncomfortable, there was a fear. I was scared because, I'm going away from something that's, quote unquote, kind of washy-washy, and tapping into real issues and trying to, bring awareness to it and find some sort of solution that we can, take home with us and bring back to the people that we love. And even with the promo video that I launched, there was even some guys that were like, I didn't get anything negative, but it was just kind of like challenging almost what I was doing and kind of challenging women's movements. And why do we have to, separate women from men? Why can it be something that's catered to all gender? And my response was, women get treated differently from men. This is the reason. It's I can't address all people because men aren't being treated like women are.
Exactly.
So
reminds me of people who will say all lives matter. Like, it's like, all lives matter, but there are specific groups of people who are facing different challenges than other people. So that,
girl.
I know it's important to talk about. It's draining in ways because we think, why do we have to work that much harder to prove ourselves? It's ridiculous, but here we are.
And I think at the end of the day, it's just about accepting that that's the reality. Mm-hmm. We have to accept it. That's the reality, what we're fighting against. So that way, when we decide to go against it and challenge those obstacles and challenge, the norm, we're ready to combat it. We're ready to prove ourselves wrong. We're ready for the backlash. We're ready for the opposition. We're ready for all of these things, because I feel like in that readiness, you can go over it. And I feel like a lot of women tend to hold themselves back because they want to come out. They want to come out of their little shelf, and they want to, you know, be something more than what they're, you know, what somebody told them they should be. And as soon as they get some sort of like negative backlash or some sort of like opposition or somebody telling them they're not worthy or you can't do that, they hide, they go back, they retract. And so we need to get to a point where we can tell women and encourage women, no, this is what's going to happen if you decide you want to move forward with, you know, any goal that you want to achieve in life, and just influence that. And really, I think we just need to make that be an awareness and really talk about the challenges that come and how to really be prepared to overcome them so you can get to that next level that you want to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Kill 'em, girl.
I'm like, I went off on a tangent. And I don't know if, can I pause this? Okay. So there was a Forbes article that I kind of came across that said, I didn't get all of the details. For some reason, I decided to read it. I got excited about it. I forgot to write down the exact statistics. But the article stated that there is a strong correlation between self-confidence and people ascending to leadership roles. And so kind of going into everything that we talked about, and we've already kind of covered that, but it just proves a point of, you know, we need to engrave that self-confidence in our women. We need to engrave that self-confidence in our children, so that way eventually once they grow up, if they want some sort of leadership role, if that's a dream that they have, they know they can do it. And so I don't know, I love having these talks where I can go back and forth and just, you know, not even a formal interview, just dissect ideas, you know, concepts and reasons as to why things are happening.
Right. Well, I think for women though, we are from such a young age taught to be self-conscious and to not necessarily lack confidence, but the things that people say to us or society, there's so many different things that make us question our confidence and that make us self-conscious and make us think that when we step on a stage, when we want to use our voice, the things we think about is, how do we look? Do I look fat in this? Is my arm looking big in this shirt? Versus, what am I saying? What impact am I leaving? And this is just it's so ingrained in us without us even thinking about it. And even think of things like, a lot about this, and you've probably thought about it too, but the ads for Victoria's Secret, for example, there's women who are, you know, barely wearing any clothing, and that's so much. And the female body is a beautiful thing, but the thing that those advertising platforms do is make us question ourselves, not just our bodies, but okay, if I don't look like that or have that body or pose that way or wear something like that, then I'm not enough. Which then, when you don't feel like you're enough, it infiltrates into all different parts of your life. And so when we don't feel enough, we might not apply for a job or for a certain school or for a certain position. So confidence and self-esteem, it can start with just, you know, looking in the mirror and not feeling enough, and then it impacts so many parts of our life. So, and I know you know that, it's just, I don't think we fully realize how much it does impact our life. And yeah, it's just, there's so much we could say about it. We could go on and on about it, but it's that feeling like we have what it takes to do whatever it is. It doesn't even have to be a woman in leadership position, even just feeling enough in like our day-to-day life. Yeah. When we feel enough, we have better relationships with our significant others, with our children. And when our children see that we're confident in ourselves, they're likely to be more confident in themselves. They're likely to not question themselves, their bodies. So it impacts our life in so many ways that we don't even think about. But I think that's probably a huge thing too with women in leadership, is what we're told to value. And, you know, there was a Victoria's Secret fashion show. There was never, you know, a men in underwear fashion show. Like, it just, there's so many different things. And I guess, again, people could say, well, pageants, Why does there have to be a focus on women in pageantry? Why does there have to be a swimsuit competition? And I think we have our reasons why we love those things, why we support those things. And to me, it comes down to another thing of, for me, pageants have always been about opportunity. I had so many amazing opportunities because of the pageant world that maybe a man would have opportunities in different areas, whereas pageants for me gave me those opportunities. And so people will say, oh, pageants are degrading to women, this and that. But you know what? They put women on a pedestal that allow them to use their voices, speak about causes, speak about things important to them. So to me, it's just another way of saying, here's something for women to stand upon and use to their advantage. And I guess we've experienced it. We've experienced the positives and the negatives. There's negatives as well, but we have lived that. And I think a lot of times when people question pageants or putting women on a stage, whatever that stage might be, they've never experienced it. They don't know people who've experienced it, and they then think it's degrading to women. But now that's a whole other tangent. But
that's a whole other, like, we can go into that and have a whole other Zoom meeting about it.
It's true. It's true. We're gonna have to follow up on it. Yeah.
We're gonna have a follow up on this one, part 2. But as you were talking, I was thinking about, that's when somebody tells you, oh, she has beauty and brains. And
oh god,
every time somebody tells me that, I can't even tell you how much that bothers me. Because
I know. Trust me, I know.
People wouldn't think of it as like, oh, well, it's a compliment. It's a compliment, yes, but what makes you think that just because I have beauty, I wouldn't have brains?
Right, totally. I know. No, I know. Yeah, I've experienced that.
I know.
Yeah, I know. And I would share this, that when I was in law school, when they would find out that I did pageants or that I was involved in pageants, whatever, they were really shocked. Okay. And then people in the pageant world, when they found out I was in law school, they were very shocked because they're like, wait, you're also smart. And it's like, why? Yeah, you're so right. Like, why? Just because even like day-to-day life, like, for example, now comments that come at me now, it'll be, oh, you're so beautiful for a mom. You're so stylish for a mom. And I'm like, just because I grew and birthed a child doesn't mean
I stopped.
Number one, that I guess that my love for makeup and beauty, whatever, like, I love those things. Those things, give me a boost of confidence. I love wearing fashionable pieces. Not everyone has to love or value those things. I do. And so that stuff didn't change. So why all of a sudden when I became a mom, did I now have to be put into this other box, right? That I can't be the other things that I was before, right? So
I think it just all goes back to that same kind of like putting women and girls in boxes, like,
yes, totally.
Labeling us. Once you become a mother, it's over for you, basically. Like, you can't do anything else. Yeah. You can't be a leader. You can't have the job that you want. You can't, be beautiful. You can't wear makeup. You can't wear heels. And I feel like a lot of times, and this is probably something that's wrong with our generation, women do feel that way, that once they become a mom and once they, get married, that's it. There's nothing else they can do with their lives. And if anything, once you become a mom, and this is a whole other topic on like motherhood and going into that, I feel like once you become either a wife or a mom, that should give you more reason to just be the best version of yourself, because now you are involved with others and everything you do influences the other people around you. And so you want to influence, strength and power to your child. You want to give them the best so that they can grow up and want to be the best because they saw that in mom or they saw that in dad. So this is speaking from like somebody that has no children, don't have like no nothing, but yeah, I have a sense of how it should be.
Well, good.
But yeah, I just want to thank you so much for just taking the time to do this, working with different time zones, and just, being open to tackling these issues and caring about women and caring about the next generation we're really leading ourselves into. And I don't know, anything else that you want to kind of get off your chest while we're here?
I'm sure there's so much, like we said, there's so much we could say, there's so much we could talk about. But I would say that overall, I think there's a lot of hope in this area. I think that as much as people dislike social media, I feel like social media has been such a powerful tool for women and men to be able to share their experiences, their stories, and make us aware. Because a lot of times we just aren't aware of what people go through. Me, before becoming a mom and maybe sharing on my Instagram, people weren't aware that people might say things like, oh, you can still be this and be a mom. So I think having things like social media and being able to be educated, if you will, or seeing people's perspectives, people's stories, I think that that's really teaching us a lot. And I think it's giving us a lot of hope that things are going to be different. It's going to take a long time for things to change, but I think things will change.
Right. I love that. And you have an amazing story too. You also went to Miss Universe, and coming out of Miss Universe, you literally just like became such a hope and light for so many women that feel that they can't do certain things because of either the way they look or their body shape, or because they're being judged a certain way. And you went on that platform and did what so many women are scared to do. And once you got out of it, whether you won the crown or not, you became that influence for so many people. Now you have your blog, you're doing your blogging with your daughter, and that's amazing, because I feel like you're showing all aspects and so many seasons of your life, and just being able to use that and use that platform to inspire women. And I love that.
Oh, well, thank you. And yeah, for people who maybe don't know, I competed at Miss Universe, and I wasn't the typical size that you would see on the Miss Universe stage. And people called me fat, overweight, Miss Piggy Universe, whale. And I would have been about a size 6, size 8, about the size that I am right now. And I had gone through a roller coaster of body shapes because of feeling self-conscious, feeling not enough, feeling like, for me, I needed to work out excessively, starve myself to fit the mold that I thought I needed to be to win a crown. And at Miss Universe, I just wanted to be myself and show people that no matter what I'm going to place, I can step on the stage at Miss Universe in front of millions of people, be myself and be confident. And what that taught me when we're speaking about a little bit about pageants is that people would message me and say, you gave me the confidence to step on a beach, not just step on a beach in a bathing suit, in a bikini, to literally step on a beach, because I never would have before. But seeing you with your body step on that stage, that gave me confidence. So that taught me that, you know what, there is a reason for these pageants. There is a reason to showcase different body shapes, because we're all different. And someone might not ever, compete in a pageant, compete in Miss Universe, but just seeing me being a little bit different than the norm gave them confidence.
Right. I love that. And thank you so much for everything that you're doing again.
Oh God, no, don't. Thank you to you. You're bringing light to so many issues and things that we need to talk about. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, I wish you well. We're stuck in this quarantine a little bit longer. I don't know how, well, at least for us, I don't know what's going to happen here. You guys are probably nice, opening up and going back to normal. We're still trying to figure out something else. Yeah. We're still trying to figure out what we're going to do here. But thank you so much for coming on the show, and maybe we'll do a part 2 and talk about pageants and all other things that we like to talk about.
Thank you for having me.